Welcome to I Am One. I am Domina, the waitress of this house, and I am glad that you are here. I just wanted to check in. It's been a week, huh? So on Tuesday, we had the memorial gathering. It wasn't a service because my mother in law, she didn't want a service. She didn't want any pomp and circumstance regarding her passing. And so we did our best to honor that. So we had a little memorial gathering at the funeral home. She wanted to be cremated, so we honored that wish. Um, and it was just a beautiful grassroots kind of time. Her neighbors, uh, they were all gathered the day we found out the news. We had to go to the house, and I'm not going to go into detail, but the neighbors, when they saw us there and realized what was going on with her, uh, were very heartbroken. And it was very sweet to hear the conversations on the street. And those who came to the memorial, who we didn't necessarily meet on the street, had the same sentiments about her. So it was just a really uh, non dramatic, um, organic. It was just really a beautiful time. Some family members did come up. We were trying to, keep them from, making this trip because she didn't really want any. She didn't want any hoopla. She didn't want any um, fanfare of her passing and moving on to the next realm. But we did have to honor her, and we did that in the most minimal way that we could. Um, and it was just a beautiful time. Um, and so Tuesday in America was also election day. And while we were busy saying goodbye, we voted ahead of time, and so did she. So thankfully, she got to say her last piece about who she wanted for president before she left this realm. And we did our thing, and we were tired. We went to bed, and then the next morning we woke up with the news. And so I kind of want to address that. And here are my sentiments. I voted for who I voted for. And the reasons I voted for who I voted for were important to me. But let me say this, just because I voted for who I voted for, I did not hang my hopes. I did not hang my dreams. I did not hang my hat on who I voted for. I voted because my people fought for the right for us to vote. I voted because women fought for the right to vote. I voted because in this country, as a democracy, that is protocol. And so there's only one time that I decided I was not going to vote and didn't vote. And it was strong enough for me not to touch it. But I decided going forward that no matter who it was, because I have the right and because that right was fought for, I am not going to uh, disregard the fight of my people and the fight of women and the fight of those who saw that everyone should have that right to vote, would be able to vote. So I'm not going to disrespect that fight by abstaining or withholding or not showing up. But as a witch, I want to say I'm kind of disappointed, not in the results, but in the reaction of the witches. I understand the emotions that were tied to that, and um, and wanting to see someone who would represent everybody and speak on behalf of everybody and stand for everybody. I get that. I 100% respect that. and acknowledge that. But for those of us who identify as a witch, sorcerer, occultist, whatever term you give yourself, to see the utter, I want to be careful, uh, but to see the devastation in some of the responses. Again, I get the disappointment part of it, but the utter devastation, emotional devastation that I saw from some of the witches in response to this, I'm a little disappointed because we who understand that we have the power to change and have the power to set the tone for our reality, why would we be so disappointed? What, not even disappointed. Why would we be so devastated? That's the word I really want to hold on to. Why would we be so devastated in the results? That hasn't taken away our power. That hasn't taken away our ability. That hasn't taken away our strength. That hasn't taken away all that is within us. That hasn't taken away our ability to believe in the gods and goddesses, if that is your choice. That has not taken away anything from us. And yet many of us have folded as if the world is coming to an end and we will no longer be able to do this. It's just like me saying, as a black person in America, that I can no longer be black. Now, are there going to be challenges to my blackness? Probably. But will that stop me from being black? Hell no. Is that going to stop me from being a woman? Nope. Is that going to stop me from being and doing and creating and manifesting and putting my intentions into the universe and the entities and deities that I represent or reach out to my ancestors whose blood runs still through my veins? Is that going to stop any of that? It is not. The card before I came on, and it's the Queen of Wands. And it was in the upright position. Look at this card. Let me bring it closer. Feminine figure. Doesn't have to necessarily be a woman. Feminine figure. Standing tall. Standing strong. This card represents stability. This card represents balance in our emotions. Okay, again, keep looking at it. Because if you miss the mark with this, let's get it together. Let's regroup, refocus. Let's right the ship in our own selves. Hearing and seeing some of the videos this week, it reminded me of when President Obama was elected the first time. And I remember seeing, I think it was a news report, getting different people's reactions. And there was this little white boy, he couldn't have been more than 7 or 8. This little white boy was sobbing because Barack Obama had been elected president. He wasn't even old enough to understand what was going on. But because he heard all the words about this man from the adults in his life, he thought this little 7 or 8 year old white boy thought America was coming to an end because a black man was elected president. That's what some of these comments that I've heard and listened to, not just from everyday mundane people, but from the witch community, from the esoteric community, from the sorcerers, from I was truly disappointed because we know better, which tells me we still have work to do, which tells me we still are caught up in this. I don't even want to use the word matrix because it's been so overused, but caught up in this system that we're hanging our hats, even as quote unquote enlightened or on our path to enlightenment people. We're still caught up in this and we haven't let it go. Now, hear what I'm saying. I'm not saying don't vote as in letting it go. I'm saying is you still remember who you are. You still remember the power that you have. You still remember that what you have, no matter who is in office, whether it's the person you voted for or not, they can't take that away from you. Will it be challenging? Sure, it will. What are we going to do in the face of the challenges? Are we going to keel over and cry and be so distraught that we forget? Or are we going to balance ourselves and get our spiritual strategy into play? The person still isn't even in office yet, and we have already declared that everything is going to hell in a handbasket. Are we not survivors? Are we not overcomers? Are we not capable of doing the impossible? For some, it didn't sound that way. And while I admonish you, I also want to encourage you. This is not the end. This is just another chapter. So take that, be encouraged. Some things that are coming up this week tomorrow, 11/11. Many talk about the 11/11 portal. If you get into that, then take this time to recenter, reground, do a ritual, burn a candle. Just let's get our minds right. let's let's come together and get our minds right and focus on how we can overcome in the midst of, in spite of, get ourselves together. And then on the 16th, which is, I believe, Saturday, that is known as Hecate's Day. Now, I don't work with her. I've never worked with Hecate, but I plan to honor honor her in some way on that date, knowing that she watches over, protects, guards witches. So again, this is a good time if if you're still grappling with everything. Um, Set aside some time on the 16th. Go before her, honor her presence, honor her power, help her to help you. Get ready for the next 4 years and know that you're covered, know that you're protected, know that you are going to be all right. And so with that, thank you for joining me. Have a great day. Have a great week ahead, and I will see you next time. Peace and blessings to you all.